Kevin Feige calls out people who don't like superhero movies is a statement that just doesn't sit right with me because it sounds narcissistic. Feige is making this statement and targeting the haters of this beloved brand, Marvel, and Kevin isn't the only one who gets all up in his feelings when anyone dare speak ill of the MCU. They're called stans, and they're absolutely reprehensible, vile creatures devoid of intellect outside of their shared consciousness as part of the Marvel hive mind collective. The entire precipice of their existence is to consume product and defend product at any and all costs, with no insult being out of bounds or too extreme if some alt-right, neckbeard, incel, man-baby, racist, sexist, misogynist, transphobe, homophobic sad boy has the sheer audacity to level any amount of criticism towards any MCU product. But enough about how Kevin Feige feels about Martin Scorsese. Feige and his MCU have collected plenty of critics over the past decade or so as the comic book movie genre became the biggest moneymaker in movie theaters around the world. Among these are some of the greatest living filmmakers around, with the likes of Martin Scorsese, James Cameron, and Denis Villeneuve making their dismay known, even going so far as calling the entire genre not cinema. Feige and Marvel Studios have not remained silent on the subject, especially when it comes to the genre's severe lack of awards recognition, taking the opportunity to clap back and potentially legitimize the narrative in the eyes of its doubters. So let's play a little bit of devil's advocate here to look at the reason why they're so against Marvel. Money. The MCU has clocked in over $28 billion over the course of 30 films, and that's no small accomplishment to be sure. To speak for James Cameron, the issue he took was in all likelihood due to his ego, as he saw Avengers Endgame pass up his beloved Avatar at the box office, leading to a re-release by Disney nonetheless, of course, because they own Fox now. But let's move on. Villeneuve directed the remake of Frank Herbert's novel Dune, and it made a worldwide total of $402 million, which was raked in against a $165 million budget. The reason I bring that up is to make a comparison to the lowest grossing MCU film, which was 2008's The Incredible Hulk, which brought in $264 million worldwide. To be fair...
Okay, now to be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
That was before the MCU was established, and outside of the big ones, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Blade, and I'm throwing DC in there because these are worldwide recognizable figures. Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman are the three most recognized superheroes in the entire world. The Cape movies were still seen as somewhat of a novelty, as opposed to legitimate cinematic experiences. Last on the list of Marvel detractors who've drawn the ire of Kevin Feige is the legendary Martin Scorsese, whose resume speaks for itself to the point where I don't need to go into detail outside of saying the man's storied career spans all the way back to 1959 and includes such transcendent works of film as Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, The King of Comedy, Goodfellas, Cape Fear, Casino, and you get the point. To Scorsese's point, what he said that got our baseball cap wearing friend Kevin so upset was, honestly, the closest I can think of them, as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being. I'm a fan of the superhero genre, and I have been since the first time I saw Christopher Reeve as Superman defending truth, justice, and the American way, because we don't recognize that "A Better Tomorrow" tagline in this house. I would be remiss if I didn't mention my favorite character growing up was Batman, because in 1989, I went to see Michael Keaton, aka Mr. Mom, play the Dark Knight in the Tim Burton classic. Then in the 90s, we got all kinds of superhero projects that were hit or miss, Batman included. I'm looking right at you, Batman and Robin. Spider-Man by Sam Raimi was a game changer in the 2000s, and the genre needed to be taken seriously again. And believe me when I say that Blade 1 and 2 are incredible entries into a genre as well. All that being said, moving into the modern era where the market is flooded with these characters, movies, shows, and animation, I fully understand Scorsese's criticism. The constant barrage of superhero projects is dizzying these days. It's taken a toll on the way the audiences view movies and other franchises. Going to an MCU movie was a twice-a-year treat, maybe 3 if you were lucky. Then they progressed to 4. Now, add in all the Disney Plus shows they pump out into the ether, and you're completely inundated with capes, aliens, web-slinging teens, and quipping billionaires with secret identities. Plus, the constant release of all these projects not only dilutes the brand, but it can cause the 2 most dreaded words that a man like Kevin Feige could hear.
Franchise fatigue.
So what does the president of Marvel do when someone says something unflattering about his sacred cash cow? Yes, that's what the president of Marvel does, according to the verbiage used by the Direct, which sounds akin to something a 13-year-old playing Fortnite would say. And this is another reason I detest modern vernacular and its overall detraction from the impact of our existing lexicon. But back to Feige and his response to the quote-unquote haters, a term which we'll discuss in a moment. He stated in an interview on the official Black Panther Wakanda Forever podcast, which I can't believe that garbage exists. There were some people who couldn't get past a 4-color printed 2-dimensional story. You know, they just couldn't do that. Just like today, dare I say it. The people who can't get past a genre story or something that's in space, or people who can breathe underwater. No, not for me. In the same podcast episode, Feige went into what it has been like building a career on the back of heroes he grew up reading, lamenting that every day is surreal, and that he is thankful that after 22 years of working in Hollywood, audiences responded the way they have. But it just goes to show that I think comic storytelling, which was marginalized for a long time for a lot of reasons, is as valid as any form of storytelling if you take it seriously and see it for what it can be, which is a genre you can explore things with. Great, fantastical ideas, big adventure, big characters, and themes that are resonant. And the great news is, Marvel Comics, even back in the day, thematically were talking about stuff. Feige envelopes and seals up his support for his meal ticket as a journey of the fantastical. And this would lead one to believe that he's blissfully unaware, or ignores, that the fantasy genre has been doing this for decades outside of Marvel. But go off, Big Kev. We can't deny the success that he's had with Marvel, despite how you may feel about him or the billion-dollar global media monopoly that employs him, but we can always critique and criticize when warranted. Given the lack of success in the Feige-led MCU during Phase 4, which included such titles as 7 Years Too Late Black Widow,
I'll have to finish it myself.
What are you going to do?
Sever the nerve.
We're Not Your Experiment Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, The Eternals, Thor Love and Blunder, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, WandaVision, Black Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Hawkeye, What If, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and Black Pantherless Wakanda Forever. And I'm probably forgetting something, but it's irrelevant because there is so much filler there the EPA would make me dispose of all this trash differently. I should choose my words more carefully. Kevin Feige will unleash his Stan army on me to shame me for my blasphemous words.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
As I dare to besmirch the behemoth of Marvel. I don't want to be a hater, which is hilariously misused by Feige in his troglodytic stands. I simply critique the lack of quality we've been given in lieu of a massive quantity of what amounts to
That is one big pile of shit.
I mean, no other MCU movie but Shang-Chi put me to sleep in the theater. And spare me the representation that Feige is allowed to take hold over quality and become the hill that the stands and the executives like Feige have chosen to die on. I heard yesterday that they secured a Chinese release for Black Panther 2. which I find funny because it has a 2-hour and 41-minute runtime. So in the Chinese theaters, it'll be about 20 minutes after editing for objectionable content.
Stupid American!
That'll make Feige happy, won't it? But hey, he'll just have to dispense more verbal salvos to show those Chinese who the boss is. They're your boss, Kevin. You answer to them.
Hey,
You see, kids, China hadn't released an MCU entry since 2019's Spider-Man Far From Home, which is co-produced by Sony, which in turn means that the lion's share of the profits belong to them as well. Ironically, in a twist of fate that could only happen in Hollywood, the first MCU movie to not be released post Far From Home was the Titanic failure Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This means the House of Mouse is missing out on those sweet, sweet communist dollars they crave so much. As a matter of fact, they crave them so much that lead actress from the live-action adaptation of Mulan actually went so far as to thank the oppressive regime that rules China.
Many of her other relatives are part of the over 1 million Uyghurs forced to go to what China calls re-education camps.
Yes, Disney has full-on capitulated to a country that is openly racist, yet they stand on their soapboxes made of faux morality, atop their falsely claimed moral high ground, and castigate half of their paying customers if they offer any criticism or resistance to the direction that the MCU has taken. And by direction, I mean replacing the tentpole heroes with their lesser derivative female counterparts, race-swap characters, countless gender swaps, rampant misandry, dedicating an entire Disney Plus series to attempting to own the haters. All of this was signed off on by the boss, Kevin Feige. So you'll have to excuse me, as I don't care if Kevin Feige is upset that people are fed up with the oversaturation of Marvel product. And that's exactly what it is at this point. The MCU has become nothing but paint-by-numbers, predictable, homogenized product that you get off any corporate assembly line. Gone are the days of Iron Man, Cap, and Thor. And here to stay are She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, and Okoye? No thank you. And spare me with this year's entire slate of schlock. I'd rather watch every movie in the Canon Films library on loop than sit through Ant-Man 3 or any of the other nonsense Feige and his band of activists push onto our plates as if we're an orphan alongside Oliver Twist saying,
"Please, sir, I want some more."
I'm done with Marvel. I've checked out. There's nothing that can interest me. As I said the other night on my Monday Night Going In Raw podcast with the Horsemen, if I was to watch another movie, it would be Spider-Man because it's co-produced by Sony and they get most of the money. Outside of that, the MCU is not where I choose to spend my money anymore. But all I have left is a message for the culture warriors who claim to be on the front lines, fighting against gargantuan corporate beasts, yet satiating those said beasts' financial desires by spending money so we don't have to, which is a direct contradiction to the mission which you claim to be on in the first place. Take some time and reflect on how dishonest you're being with not only your audience, but yourselves. You'll probably notice that you're doing a great disservice to your viewers by lying to them and claiming to be fighting the good fight, when in reality, all you want is to be able to continue your grift uninterrupted by pesky things like the truth. Rest easy knowing that you're doing the exact same thing to your audience that Kevin Feige and Marvel is doing to theirs. But now it's your turn, folks. Leave your thoughts about Kevin Feige, the evolution of the MCU, and all your other Marvel Disney questions, statements, comments down below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please smash the like button, share the video, and if today's the day I've earned it, subscribe to the channel. Hit the red button and ding the bell for notifications. And if you want to take it one step further in supporting the channel, you can purchase a membership. $2.99 to become a Kazooian, $4.99 and you're a Harvey Wakuian producer. Perks are all listed on the membership tab on the main page of the channel. I'd like to thank my editor, Goodstuff, the Horsemen, Tony, Vinnie, Draven, Chris, and Red, my Wednesday night holy shit crew of CJP from Forgotton One Music and Soldier Spirit from Vets Talkin'. I'm E-Temple Kuian from The Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all yous. If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Self-high five.
tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.